Hello, hello. So it's great that Fiona's joined us here. We've got a few questions to answer. So the first one I think we'll start with actually came out of the friends and family chat, not actually the Friend and Fastest group. So Trav had asked a good question. And just to give a background on Travis as well, he has been doing 48-hour fasts, I think, since the start of the year. So he sort of was aiming for one a month since the start of the year, and he maybe missed a month. I think that's what was written in the chat there. But this time on his 48-hour fast, due to the masterclass, he decided to go an extra day. He was actually going to try for 5 days, but he's got a lot of stuff on at the moment, preparing for Camp Indy and this other big program he's doing. So we got to 3 days, but his big question was, Nat, how do you cope with the headaches?
All right, so there's a few things about headaches on fasts. So the one thing is that he was still in that process of changing over from, if you remember from the masterclass, when you first start a fast, if you're not doing keto as a normal diet and you're just having other foods and lots of carbs, then your body has to use up those carbs first. And so the carbs are glycogen that sits in your liver. So all of that needs to be used up first, and then it'll swap over to using fat on your body. So then your body goes into ketosis. Your body is actually creating ketones at that point. So that swap over period, which does take usually about 2 or 3 days, is a time where you'll feel a fast the most, because the body is trying to, there's a lot of things going on at that point in time. Don't forget, from that 2 to 3 day period, your body really is starting to run down from the food that it's had in its system, and now it's actually trying to go into fasting mode. So headaches are very normal at that time, and you really just have to work through them. The best way to handle a headache is to have more water and make sure that you've got tons of water, because on a fast you need more water than what you think you do. You need twice as much as what you normally have. So you should be having normally 1 liter of water for every 22 kilos or 48 pounds of body weight. So that's a lot normally. And then you got to double that when you go on to a fast, because when you get to that 2 or 3 day period as well, what's also happening is that you're detoxing. You're in a major detox at that point. So if you're particularly toxic in your system and you haven't fasted for a while, it does get easier as you fast and go along, because your body's used to detoxing quickly, and it's also not got so many toxins in it because you've been fasting. So, but in those initial periods, it can be, a lot of toxins being pulled out of your system, and you need to get them out. So if you're not getting them out effectively, then that can give you headaches as well. So if you are getting headaches, you've got to ask yourself, are you doing some of those daily rituals that will help get those toxins out of the body? Like enemas. Enemas is unfortunately, one of the best ways to get toxins out of the body effectively and fast. So I've definitely had headaches before on a fast and gone and done an enema, and I felt much, much better for it. So that definitely is something to look at.
I was wondering, and I can't say for certain, but I was wondering that I have a feeling Trav is also a coffee drinker, and maybe prior to the masterclass, I really have no idea. We haven't had a chance to speak on whether he was doing much in the preparation, like the pre-fast side of things. So if you do just literally stop, like, normal day, I've just done my normal 3 meals a day. I've had my coffee in the morning, and then I stop eating at 6 o'clock that night, and I'm not going to eat again for 48 hours. Then yeah, that's not a pre-fast.
No, that's definitely not a pre-fast. So coffee is another one. That's probably one of the big ones. Yes, chocolate has plenty of caffeine in it as well, and sugar and things like that. So sugar is another big detox withdrawal symptom. And I've certainly had those, and they give you headaches. Definitely. I've had some major headaches when I've come off sugar at times, and I'm a bit of a sugar head. Well, I used to be. So sugar and caffeine probably are the two big ones that will give you some symptoms as you're coming off, if you have enough of it ordinarily. So, but the pre-fast thing, I think this leads us into Nicky's question about pre-fasting. Super important, because like you just said, Jodie, finishing 1 day of the normal meals. And even if you eat healthy, like, which I know you do, Fiona, it doesn't matter how healthy you actually are in your eating. If you suddenly just stop having food, it's going to be it's a real shock to the system. So
yeah, I mean, that was the mistake I made as well when I did my 48-hour fast. So
yeah. So pre-fast really is to help your body adjust to not having food all of a sudden and only having water. So don't shock the system so much. Like it is about just ebbing down in the amount of food that you're having and getting lighter and lighter foods. So getting into fruits and vegetables. If you're a meat eater, then definitely giving up meat prior to a fast, like I would say a decent amount of time prior to a fast. And then coming into, say, depends on how long your fast is for, but if I was going to do, say, a 2-week fast, then I would have a decent week usually of just fruits and vegetables, if I could afford the time to do that. If you're on a shorter fast, then it can be just, say 3 days of fruits and vegetables, and then into juices, which again, if you remember from the masterclass, we're taking away the fiber. That's why juices are so important to fast, a pre-fast, but also coming back out of the fast, is that you take that fiber. That's the part where your body works the hardest, is when you've got fiber in your system.
So I was just thinking, and we've had this discussion as well. Let's say you are still a meat eater, and leading up to the fast, that perhaps if you've cut down, with a intermittent fasting is a great pre-fast, intermittent fasting, but cutting down on the heaviness of the food. But if for any reason you feel that your digestive system has got a lot of food in it, like sort of the stuff that is a bit harder to work on, like meat, then actually starting the fast with an enema is that good sort of first clear out before as you go into the fast. So we sort of had that discussion around, well, what if you did the fast did an enema like literally just before you're fasting? You sort of like giving your body a chance to sort of clear out. You go into the fast and it's not carrying as much. And I certainly, touch wood as it is, I've never experienced headaches on a fast, but I'm not somebody who gets headaches very often.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't drink coffee. And yeah.
Yeah, and you're not a big sugar head either. So I think they're the sorts of things that do create and if you're really toxic, like if you haven't fasted before and you haven't watched what you've eaten, then headaches are probably going to be quite normal for the first few days. But it is remembering that it is only usually the first few days. And if you can get through that, when I had a headache last time and I did the 14-day water fast, I did get quite a headache actually, and it was starting to get a bit migraine-y, and I was like, oh, here we go. So it was nighttime and I ended up taking some CBD drops, and that just knocked me out. I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning and I was fine. So it started in the neck, which is quite a common place for detox headaches, is where it starts to feel like it's clenching the sides of your neck here. So if you're getting that sort of headache, then that definitely is a detox headache. So water.
Yeah, and some of that movement can get rid of it too.
Yeah, lots of water, movement, doing some enema, like do an enema, just do something to get the toxins out of your system, and you actually will feel better almost immediately.
All right, so I have a couple of things coming to mind, but the couple of questions that we've had put into the group with regards to sort of staying on the path that we're at. So Nicky's question was actually about refeeding, so let's get to that afterwards. But yep. Sharon has asked, first thing was, when drinking water and juice, what flavor of juice is best? I've always heard juice is full of sugar. And the second question is, when drinking smoothie, protein powder or not? I do, but it has no sugar added. So I'd like to address Sharon's second question first, because that is kind of pre-fast and post-fast. Sharon, it is 100% not on the fast.
No, definitely not.
No smoothies with protein or no protein on the fast.
No, even in the lead up, I'm going to get in my bandwagon a little bit about protein powder, because I was a big fan of protein powder. I would have a smoothie every day, and Jodie can attest to this, a smoothie every day and have protein powder in it, vanilla protein powder. I have since stopped it, since researching fasting a lot more, because what's normally happening to people is that they're taking in too much protein into their system, and what protein doesn't actually come out of your system. It actually gets stored. So then we start getting things like tumors, polyps, skin tags, moles, like all these things. They're the things that the body doesn't know what to do with the excess protein, so it stores it. And that's what it's doing with it. It's storing it into those sorts of things. They're excess growths, basically. So excess growths in the body are generally made of protein. So when we fast and we take away the protein sources now, then suddenly we have those sorts of things disappearing oftentimes, which is why fasting can heal tumors and cancers and things like that. So I had a big mole, I don't know what it was really, on the side of my head here, and it was quite a decent size. It was raised. It's totally flat now. So a lot of the things that I had, and I know you've had that same thing, Jodie, that when you fast long enough, a lot of those things just disappear, or they flatten out because the protein that was inside them actually got used as fuel.
I just need to, oh, sorry, Fiona, I just need to make mention before I forget it. Whether I was just never into the protein side of things or not, but I never knew, because I never needed to, and I've never had a protein drink, maybe once, that whey protein powder is from meat and that the vegetable protein powder is from vegetables. But it's only been through this process of Nat researching to find out that vegetable protein is actually more beneficial to the body than meat protein.
Yeah, vegan protein, definitely. That's why it's more expensive. So when you buy vegan protein powder, it's a lot more expensive than whey protein powder. Yes, because whey protein powder is not necessarily from meat, but it's from animal protein.
Animal protein, sorry, yeah. So let's just get to Fiona's question before she forgets, because I butted in on her. But hello, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi.
I was going to say, I've been told, and in a group I'm in that's sort of for our age and upwards, we're told that you should eat more protein when you're getting older.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're saying that we shouldn't.
Well, no, you do get plenty of protein with your vegetables. That's the thing.
Right.
And with regards to a fast, and you sort of like leading up to a fast and then coming off a fast.
No, I can see with regards to the fast, yes.
Yeah.
But you know, Nat was saying, I mean, I don't believe in eating protein powder either. But because I think if you're going to take eat extra protein for your health, you're better off eating whatever it is that's got the protein in it, not the protein powder. Yeah, I mean, I can see leading up to fast that perhaps you shouldn't be eating so much protein because, you know, it's overloading your system. But if the body is storing excess protein in all these things that are not wanted, why are we told that we need so much more protein? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Why are we told that meat protein is a superior source of protein over plant protein? Like, I only just found out probably not all that long ago that plants actually have protein. In fact,
depending on the plant, how much, but yes, they do, obviously, yes.
So it's like, to me, I think we've just been fed a bunch of bullshit over the years, and probably a lot of it's due from the meat industry, because I know myself and a lot of people in Australia, and that's probably all I can talk for, is fed this story that meat protein is far superior to plant protein. In fact, I didn't even know plants had protein. But then when you do the research and you start to realize, well, in actual fact, the reason why we need to take protein in the first place is because the human body doesn't actually create the essential amino acids, which is protein. Long chain amino acids is what protein actually is. In fact, we don't create that in our own bodies. And so we do need to take external sources of protein in. But the funny thing is, animals don't do it either. And so when we get told this freaking story about, oh, meat protein is far superior, it's like, they only have protein. Animals only have protein, and the meat that we're eating only has protein because of what they're eating. It's the plants that they're eating. It's plants. That's where it comes from. So that's why I feel now meat protein is not superior whatsoever, because they're not, you know, we don't have cows out grazing in the beautiful green pastures anymore with their grass and roaming free and all that.
We do.
Well, you might, where you are.
Scotland does.
But most places don't have that anymore. So they're stuck, you know, eating a shed that are full of shit that we're now taking into our bodies and calling this, this amazing protein that we should be having into our bodies. So I feel that if you're going to take any protein in, again, this really just comes back to me that my body would tell me if it needs more protein. So it's tuning back into the system, your own body system, going, does it need more protein? There you go. You're in the.
So Lisa, do you want to chime in on the protein chat before we get back and actually answer Sharon's real question?
Okay, there we go. I mean, yes, excuse me, I do feel like I need more protein, but at the same time, I also feel like we are fed a lot of bullshit from Western medicine, who tell us that fasting will kill us, or who tell us to go anorexic, and all this kind of stuff. I knew that plant-type protein, basically, sorry, I'm walking a dog at the same time, a husky that's chasing a bunny.
That's fun.
Speaking of protein, but I mean, now that once you say it, Nat, to me, it makes sense because I do grow up in cities. Like, I'm a city girl. We don't have grass. We have to really make our own plants, or we have to ship them in from Jersey or whatever the case may be. Sorry, bunny. And so it kind of makes sense when we're told, because we're told to eat grass-fed beef because beef eats grass. So when you live in the city, you think, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. But now that I'm here in Colorado, it actually doesn't make that much sense. And I've been vegetarian. I've gone vegetarian since Guanajuato, since I went on that first fast. What was it, a month ago, I guess? God, I'm really moving, aren't I? And I feel really full. I feel like I have a lot of energy. I have not once had a piece of meat and felt like, disdained or faint or low energy or anything like that.
Yeah.
All right, so to come back to Sharon's actual question, which is when I'm having a smoothie, we declared that you're not having a smoothie on a fast. So this would be a pre-fast smoothie or a post-fast smoothie. Smoothie is defined as the fiber is still in the drink. The banana is the whole banana. It's the whole fruit, the whole vegetable, etc. Does she protein powder or not?
My feeling to that, my own opinion on that would be no. But I don't feel you need protein powder anymore, ever. If you're eating enough fruits and vegetables, or vegetables in particular, then you're getting all the protein that you need. So, and
my testament to that with you is I did not change any of my dietary habits, and I have a pretty bad kind of habit with my addiction to junk food and wine and lovely things like that. 6 months in 2021 of walking, up and down hills for at least an hour and a half every single day, I dropped a massive amount of weight, an enormous amount of weight. It was probably about 12 or 13 kilos by doing nothing other than exercise. Nat did the exact same thing as me in that 6 month period. And she was having smoothies. The only difference between her and me was she was living on pretty much a smoothie with protein powder every single day. She did not drop an ounce.
It was frustrating.
Because that's kind of what I've been doing in the past. Really frustrating.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Having said that, though, I know, Fiona, you're very, very active, particularly at the moment. You're doing a lot of work. You might find that more protein is necessary. So you got to think, what's protein used for?
Well, I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, but that said, I don't actually eat that much meat. And I'm only eating meat if it is 100% grass-fed, which these are not, because they come in in the winter. So I don't eat these. But like my brother, who I'm going to visit at the end of this month, his cows are 100% grass-fed, so I'm allowed to eat his cows.
Yeah, I think that's fine. If you're doing grass-fed meat, then
but I mean, if it just says it's grass-fed in the shop, don't believe it, because they can say that and yet they're inside being fed hay or
Yeah.
silage,
Yeah.
and that's not what it means. So so the venison I get, which is shot on our farm, that's 100% grass fed, so I eat that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I don't, I won't eat anything else that's not. I do eat eggs as well from my chickens. I know what they get fed.
Yep.
And then they're on organic and they're out in the fields. I mean, they're shut in at night because of foxes, but they're out all the time, and so
I think you've raised a really good point there, because particularly like for a lot of people, the ability to be able to get fresh eggs and sort of know where the eggs come from is that not that difficult, or at least in our lifestyle, it's not that difficult, depending on where you are. But what about going back to the old-fashioned boxes recipe of putting egg in your smoothie instead of your protein powder?
It's another way of doing
I
it.
used to do that. I used to do bulletproof with the egg yolk.
Yeah.
Quite good.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
a
I'd
concept.
rather eat it just like an egg.
But we're gonna burn my eggs.
Why we were talking about Sharon's question.
Yeah.
So that's just a couple of things to contemplate there. So this will be good to kind of like break this recording down for everyone. So
Yeah.
her second question was, when drinking only water and juice, what flavor of juice is best? I've heard that juice is full of sugar.
Juice is contains fructose, which is different to sugar. So the body's quite capable of breaking fructose down, and it breaks down purely in the liver. So you're actually having lots and lots of fruit, more towards the fruit idea than the vegetables, because there's more fructose in fruit itself. That's why having fruit at night can be a little bit laborsome on the liver. So you probably shouldn't sit down to bowls of fruit salad at night. Try and have it during the day. But as far as the juice component of a juice fast, or the pre-fast, and then coming back out of a fast and refeeding, yes, there is definitely fructose in the juices that you're having. So if you are concerned about that, you can definitely tend more towards the vegetables, which are lower in fructose. I have like carrot and apple and things like that. So I think those sorts of blends, and you can quite freely mix fruits and vegetables. It doesn't matter on that juice component as well. But it's still fairly gentle on the system. But you got to think too, like even if you're doing a juice fast, you're really only having a liter or maybe a liter and a half of juice in that whole day. Like you're not just living on juice on a juice fast and nothing else. Like it really is a water fast with a couple of glasses of juice. That's what a juice fast actually is.
And that's what you were doing, Lisa, wasn't it? Because you didn't have a juicer in Guanajuato. You were going and buying juice from a lady who made the juice. What were the flavors you mainly went with?
I always had a green, always had a green.
Great. Yeah.
And I tried to get the beet. There was like a beet and strawberry mixture.
Yeah, I know the one.
And the beet's really sweet. Like it's
Very sweet.
very good tasting. So I tried to stick to as much as vegetables as possible. And in the beginning, I was drinking them whole. But then after a while, I mean, like only a couple days, I think maybe like 2 days, and I started sieving them and putting them through. I have like a metal coffee filter.
Yep.
So since I wasn't drinking coffee, I was sieving the juice through there and getting the pulp out. And it was really tasty. And I only did 2. I only had 2.
Yeah, I think that's all you need. Like it's sort of interesting. So I think I'll do a juice fast, or I'm going to do juice, the couple of days before I fast. And I actually get really sick of it really quickly, because you are starting to detox and you realize how sweet it is. You're right. Even beets are super sweet. Like everything becomes super sweet, particularly when
Carrot
you
can
come
be
off a
sweet.
fast and you're having juice. I only could do like a day or 2 of it. And I was like, I'm so done with this. Everything just tastes so crazy sweet to me. And I'm a sweet tooth. So it's
And then
like,
the mineral water, like I would pretend to have a cocktail and mix the juice with mineral water, a flavored mineral water or something like that. And I did do some powdered protein, but I had decided that I was going to work out proper, like I had been working out.
Yeah.
So I was lifting weights and doing all those sorts of things. And I said, well, let me take the protein because I am still lifting the weights. because I just didn't know what I just didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, let's keep up and then see how I feel or whatever. But this time around, I'm not going to lift weights. I want it. This is a question. So I want to still strength train. If I do body strength training, like push-ups or something like that, or repetitive things, like, is that cool? Or is that still considered like burst exercise?
No, that's fine. I think if switching over from lifting heavy weights to lifting lighter weights and doing more reps probably is quite appropriate for a fast.
Okay. So it's more about the cardio of the weight, not.
Yeah, they say you shouldn't do cardio on a fast because the heart, it puts a lot of pressure on the heart. So it's probably not wise to be doing lots of strenuous exercise on a fast.
I was like spinning at night. I was like,
I know you were right off doing this and doing it's like, holy crap. I'm like, all right.
how is she not dead? But I was curious. I was like, let me see how I feel. And it just it was very euphoric. The whole thing was euphoric. And so I was like, oh, great, let's do another one.
Clearly my 47-minute swim was not a good thing to do on the fast. Not 47 hours, 47 minutes.
47, yes, we did say 47 hours to start off with on a 48-hour fast. It's like, holy crap. Like, no wonder you didn't eat anything. You're just swimming the whole time.
Went to France and back and France and back.
Yeah. Bit far from France up here, actually.
That is a long way.
Went to Iceland and back and Iceland.
Yeah, that'd be more like
it. That's more like it. More like it. Yes, and don't forget, a fast is meant to be relaxing the body a little bit. It's meant to have that's really what a fast is about. So not only are you resting the digestion, you are resting your body and giving it a break, because we never give our bodies a break and let it just catch up. So knocking off some exercise to do that, I think, is beneficial personally.
So coming back to Sharon's question, one thing that that I saw you experience, Nat, was, and we brought it up in the masterclass, you were very regular on your fresh lemon juice in either water or mineral water prior to the fast, but then on the fast, you had it and then you went, no, this doesn't feel right, and you stopped it. So getting back to flavors, Sharon, probably steer clear of your lemon juice. If you're going to be infusing water, we found infusing water to be probably the most delicious, way more delicious than and really appreciated than juice. So we would infuse all sorts of different things.
Yeah, kiwi and
that was our favorite. Kiwi cucumber was our absolute favorite. We also did cucumber blueberry. We did one with strawberries and you didn't like it. It was too sweet for you.
Yeah, I wasn't fussed on the strawberry thing, but cucumber water, like you can see why spas do it. It's actually really refreshing. It's lovely. So yeah, and I think you got to remember your taste buds are really coming back at this point when you're on a fast, like everything's popping. So it doesn't take much to get some different flavors going into water or mineral water. And
I think what Lisa said as well, doing that little bit of mixing juice into water, like I know you'd look forward at your sort of happy hour drink at the end of the day would be a little bit of orange juice into the mineral water.
Yep.
Something.
Yeah, I think that's it. Mineral water is a good one because you're getting some of your salts in as well into a decent mineral water. I was looking at the different types of mineral water we could get in Mexico, and I was trying to get the ones with the most sodium and minerals in it. So it is one way of getting minerals in, which is really terrific. And it's just something different, it can be a cocktail. I think that's the thing, is like creating that, trying to make it as normal as possible, use the bowls for dinner, sit down like Mandy was doing, my sister, and having a bowl of it with a spoon, like actually make it dinner, not just drinking it from a cup and, doing that. It's like having cocktail hour and have a mineral water with some flavor or something in it, some sort of juice or something in it that changes it up. And that's your cocktail hour, like it's trying to make it so you're not so different during this.
Well, that actually brings me to Nikki's question about refeeding. And we did see her write that one of the reasons she wasn't going longer than 48 hours on the fast was because she had promised Ian that they were going to go to the pub for, I'm assuming, dinner and possibly drinks. So she did ask the question about refeeding, and I want to talk, and Nikki, I'm not saying whether you did have an alcoholic drink or not when you went to the pub, but me being probably a bit more like you in regular alcoholic beverages, coming off the fast, the first day that I ate, or the first evening that I ate, my happy hour cocktail was literally just water with watermelon juice, ice cube. So I had a watermelon juice ice cube inside of the glass. It looked like a cocktail. It was pretty. It was soft pink. I sipped on it as the sun went down. It was just beautiful. But I did have alcohol the next day, and I didn't have any problem with that because I didn't eat again until I sort of brought the intermittent fasting in. So I broke my fast with a banana and a couple of pieces of soft fruit, had the water with watermelon juice, went to bed, woke up the next day, didn't eat until probably about 12-ish. And that was the banana. And I think we went for a salad, and I don't know that I would have done a salad again. I probably would have just done sort of steamed vegetables or something instead of, but only kind of like that one meal a day. But then I did have some wine in the evening and just some celery, and then sort of went through the intermittent fast to the next day. So refeeding, Nat, you have all the info on the refeeding, but I would just wanted to bring that up just in case Nikki had kind of maybe gone out for dinner, which was pre-planned. The fast wasn't pre-planned. The fast sort of happened pretty quickly, but then she probably did the right thing because she only had to really do kind of pre-fast for a day or so with the idea of doing a 48-hour fast. But coming off, she hasn't actually maybe come out the right way.
Yeah, coming back out definitely is really important. I feel for a couple of reasons. One, because you'll still feel really sick, which it sounds like Nikki probably did, and I don't know what she ate or drank, but yeah, it's just going to make you feel really sick. And I did that. I even had a plant-based burger, I don't know what, 2 weeks after. I was on the coming out refeeding for ages, like weeks before I ended up doing something like that. And we went and had a burger, and I felt really sick. By the time I got home, I was just laying on the bed going, oh.
I have a feeling the biggest thing for that with you, just to clarify for everyone, was the cheese and the bread.
And the bread.
It wasn't so much the burger. It was the cheese and the bread. And you actually had a sip of Coke Zero as well, which you hadn't had anything like that the whole time either.
No, I only had a couple of sips of that. I wouldn't put it down to that. I would say it was the bread personally. And maybe it's had too much sugar or fat or something in it, because I hadn't had a lot of fat at that stage. So coming out really slowly and it's longer than what you probably think. So they sort of say that for the amount of time that you fast or you do your water fast for, so you do a 7-day water fast, then you should at least do 4 days, 3.5, 4 days on coming back out. I would probably add a couple of days to that and make it, a good 6 or 7 days of just really watching what you're having. But actually coming back out to actually start again on juice, you're literally taking what you did coming into the fast and reversing it, flipping it over. So you're going to go back to juice where there's no fiber, and you can just relax. The body can relax into having more vitamins and minerals at that stage. You're really topping out your vitamins and minerals, and you're going to start to feel better. And then getting back to, we did do a salad, but ideally, what we could have done was actually a soup, vegetable soup, and some steamed vegetables to come back out, and some soft fruits. So you want really soft stuff that's easy to digest in the body. Don't go back to hard vegetables and hard fruits and things like that straight into it, like apples and beets and stuff like that. Just keep it really soft for a couple of days, and then get to the harder things, harder fruits and vegetables. And then eventually adding in things like lentils, so different grains, lentils, rice, that sort of stuff, and then back to normal again. So
the juice that we noticed the most pulp in, because we have a juicer, we did the Kabbalah, so carrot, one type of apple, beets, another type of apple, lemon, another type of apple. And the beets and the carrot definitely had a lot of sort of that pulp come fiber. So to the point that the first one we had, it was like that was a meal, and then we did strain it after that, so it just became a bit lighter. Fiona, sorry.
What about kefir when you're coming out?
Kefir lime.
Kefir.
Oh, lime.
Kefir. No, kefir is like a yogurt that's
Oh,
made
the yogurt.
using lots of bacteria and
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. Sorry. I think Kefir limes, is it? I don't-
no kefir.
No,
But
no.
that's a really good point about the probiotics again, though.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you've been doing enemas on a fast, an enema is going to take everything out of your system. So by putting water up there, it's going to take the whole lot out, which is fine when you're on a fast because you're not trying to digest anything. But as soon as you start coming off that and you're putting food back in your system, you definitely need to start looking at probiotics. So fruits and vegetables have probiotics in them, and they also have prebiotics, which is fiber, which is what the probiotics bacteria actually feed on. That's what prebiotics is actually food for the probiotics. So getting back into fruits and vegetables definitely is a good start with that. But yes, things like fermented foods and kefir would be a great assist. Definitely. You just have to watch things that are a little bit milky probably when you first start coming back off, that you're not diving straight into a milky type substance. But yeah, any sauerkrauts and kimchis and things like that, yeah, is fantastic.
I
We also
believe
had-
you can also make water kefir. I've never made it.
Right. Okay.
But there's yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
supposed to be
did.
good for you.
That's
We
probably
did
ideal,
kombucha.
yeah.
We did
Kombucha.
kombucha, but it was just store bought. So we don't have a kombucha mother or anything. That might be something that we might need to look at having
Yes.
ourselves at some stage. But
Yep.
just a store bought kombucha is what we had to start. I mean, you did do the occult as well, coming
Yeah.
back in as well. But
They're all, are they any good? The store-bought ones, you know, there's people that say, you know, they're completely useless because they're probably all dead by then. And now we have capsules that don't need to be in the fridge anymore. Suddenly they're okay just as capsule form on the shelf. Are they any good? I really don't know at the end of the day, like, you know, which ones are good and not. To me, the best thing of all always is just natural stuff. So if fruits and vegetables have on their skin probiotics, then try and get that into you, obviously making it organic, so you don't have to wash all the stuff off it. And then yeah, things like kefir and stuff like that. I think anything that you can make at home is, or buy from, you know, locally that you know is good stuff, then definitely try and do that where you can. But yeah,
Just-
getting that bacterial population and a good spread. That's why having fruits and vegetables when you come back off a fast is really important. A good range of fruits and vegetables, because there's so many different types of probiotics that are on the different fruits and vegetables. Then you're going to get a nice range of population back in your gut. So it's good.
it just reminded me, for those of us who have ever been in a country where, you know, supposedly you need to wash your fruit and vegetables to get, you know, anything off it, chemical wise. I am pretty much dead certain that what we have here in Mexico, that little drops of iodine or whatever it is put into water to kind of rinse your vegetables, I'm pretty certain that it made me incredibly sick a couple of years ago. So we had been in Mexico on and off for years, and I'd never used it. Would just literally water wash vegetables, not use the drops. And then we were living with some people, and they, you know, were like freaked out that we weren't doing the drops. So I started doing it, and I literally got sicker than sick for one of those like 48-hour type of lose everything out of my body. And this time around with doing the fast, it was really interesting watching that wash everything with apple cider vinegar instead.
Yeah.
You can also use bicarbonate of soda.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
That just resonated with me a lot, because I
Mm.
think that memory of being so sick from the iodine drops was like, oh, thank goodness, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl reckons that it doesn't matter where you live, you should wash your fruit and vegetables, because the environmental problems are worldwide.
Yep.
And so even if you grow them in your garden and they're organic, you should still wash them because they've been outside.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't actually ask him about when I grow things in my polytunnel.
Well, you would think that would be okay, but
You would, but I don't know. So
yeah, that's it. Can stuff come from the surrounding air and things like that? Yeah, yeah, so
That might be a question I might have for that guy who does the indoor growing as well.
true. Yeah,
He's
it's
been
good.
doing it for years, so maybe I could
Mm.
ask about that from what he's using on it. Because
Yeah,
there's got to be an element that you do want bugs. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like even with the clay
That's
thing, like
thing.
should we be going out and picking up dirt and eating it and whatever bugs we get? Like, I mean, I don't know. Does it just help build your immune system? I don't know.
Well, that's what happened. I mean, when you're children, you're supposed to go around doing that sort of thing because it does
Gonna
build
say.
your immune system. And that's one of the reasons these days why so many children are allergic to everything, because they aren't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we went out and did whatever we wanted in the mud and rolled around and, and we're all pretty healthy types,
Yeah.
And yet so many people these days are not.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I think you need to be, children particularly need to be not wrapped in cotton wool and actually sent outside and be exposed to different things for sure. I think it makes a massive difference. But yes, I think that's the thing I haven't reconciled yet is washing fruits and vegetables in apple cider vinegar, as opposed to having the probiotics on the outside of fruits and vegetables, even if they are organic and they're said to be organic. Like I want to do a little bit more study into that because I'm not sort of sure how that marries up at this stage.
I have to say that I know about the cider vinegar and have done it a couple of times.
She's frozen.
Gosh, that you get from Whole Foods.
Lucy, you're just breaking up a bit.
Am I there?
You were just breaking and
Bring it back
freezing.
now. So we missed that whole thing.
Now I'm good now.
Go again on that whole thing.
I was going to say that, like, I have a friend in Mexico who would wash her vegetables, I think with or apple cider, but vinegar.
Yeah.
And my mom has some sort of wash from Whole Foods. And I have to admit, I wash with whatever water. Like I just wash it.
Yeah.
I wash it with straight Mexican water. And I eat it. And I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Because there are times when I have issues or whatever. Is that why? I don't know.
Possibly. Yeah. I always, if I'm not going to do apple cider vinegar and soak things for, sort of 10 minutes or something, then I would at least pour bottled water, from the big containers and use that to, even after the apple cider vinegar, I rinse them, like, so I don't want it tasting like vinegar.
But this is a newer thing. I mean, literally since we first arrived in Mexico in 2015, you and I rarely used anything other than just water. Like,
Just
we would
tap
only
water.
ever wash tap water. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the tap water like in Mexico?
Not good to drink.
You can't drink it.
Right. Okay. So possibly not the best thing to wash the fruit and vegetables with.
But then I
Quite
would say
possibly
that
not,
about
but-
Australian water as well. Like at Mum and Dad's place on the Gold Coast, as soon as I'd had a drink, because they don't have any other water other than tap water. That's all Mum's ever drunk. And she drinks quite a bit of water. And it tasted dead set like swimming pool. I was just like, how on earth can you drink this? Oh my God. But you're so used to it, you don't even taste it. It had so much chlorine in it that I've gone out of my way to get a water bottle that will filter water.
Flippin' fortune.
Oh, it's just a fucking bomb.
Well, I'm fortunate. I mean, aside from the fact that when it rains, I do actually collect the rainwater. But my parents, their house is not on mains water. It's from a spring up on the hill. So I go up there and get a barrel full of water.
Yeah. The best you can get.
Well, it's not the best. I don't think it would actually pass the health inspection. It's a slight problem, but I do then put it through a purifier. And it's certainly, if I compare the I think it's only the heavy metals in it that are compared on this thing I've got, but the difference between that and the tap water is incredible.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the best is when I get the rainwater, but obviously when it's nice like this, there's not much rain.
Coming.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the quality of water definitely makes a big difference. You think your whole body is actually what, 70 or 80% water. It makes a massive difference to the quality of
Yeah.
water that you're
And
taking
so's
in.
the world. So that's where
Yeah.
that kind of thing I love
Like-
looking at. So it's like, you know, your body's 70 to 80% water, the world is 70 to 80% water. You know, like everything is
Yeah.
correlated and related, and you
Mm.
know, we have chakra points in our body, the world has chakra points around the world, like that whole connectedness thing. And I think more than anything, and I know that, you know, over time, like as we all get better at fasting, and we're going to get better at really hearing our body and trusting our intuition. You know, I'm sure, like, we all know everyone's intuitive, and I'm sure everyone's experienced at some stage was like, dang, I should have listened to that intuition because it was sort of saying something to me and I didn't do it. It's almost like ultimately Freedom Fasters is about honing that one skill that we all have.
I think that's the one thing that fasting gives you, or it gives you a lot of things, but it's one of the main things that people talk about, and why so many philosophers back in ancient times would fast. Was mainly, it wasn't even really about the physical side of it for them. It was actually the mental clarity that it came, and the ability to tune in 100% into your intuition. And I have experienced that, you know, like it's almost like the ego takes a back step. I don't know whether the ego is connected to food. I'm still trying to work that out, but it seems to be for me. When I threw it away, the ego just dropped away. It was really so fascinating to experience. And just to have this complete silence, just knowing exactly what had to happen next. I felt like my communication, which has always been a big thing for me, is communication. In my numerology, I'm a 336, so 3 is expression and sensitivity, and I've got that twice. So expression definitely is a massive thing in communication, and I just felt like it was just so much clear, like so much clarity in what I wanted to say, and it just came out. It was totally different, and I feel like it's actually shifted it almost permanently now afterwards. And it was like, yeah, it's like bang, this is what I want to say. And it was, yeah, really quite cool to experience. So I do think that more and more, the more we fast, the more we are going to tap into our intuitions automatically, and that will become a norm for when we go back to eating as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to end the recording there, but you guys are welcome to stay and chat if you want to. I just wanted to get this up and out to everybody as well. So thank you, Nat, thank you, Lisa and Fiona, for being here.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
thanks, Nicky and
Thank
Sharon, for
you.
your questions, and Travis as well. So they're all good questions, and
Yeah, it's great.
that's what it's about. Yeah. All right. See you next time.
Guys.